everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing, yes, another speed build. This one is a giant autumn speed build, and the first thing you're going to notice is that you can see me up in the top left hand corner, and the reason for that is that I decided to stream this particular build over on Twitch. Now I've been going on and on and on about Twitch in the last several videos, and I decided to just take the plunge and just get on with it. But I did want to do some face cam over on Twitch, so that's the reason why you can see me up in the top left hand corner. So I thought it'd be a really good idea to do some speed builds, well, to stream speed builds over on Twitch, download them and then upload them into a speed build. That way I'm kind of killing two birds with one stone. So there's going to be a couple of autumn themed builds coming up on my channel, mainly because obviously we are in autumn, or fall as some places class it as, and it's my favourite time of the year. So I really wanted to do a big mansion, a big kind of beautiful autumn family suburban build, and this is it. So this is Oakview. It's a 6-bed, 3-bathroom build on a 50 by 50 lot in Willow Creek, and it comes in at just less than 290,000 simoleons. So this is the first time I've ever actually used a proper mod in a game, other than maybe the MC Command Center. That's probably more of a recent one that I've just installed. But anyway, this was like obviously a complete change of scenery, and the autumn mod was by Danny Paradise, who I will leave a link in the description box below. Really simple to download. You just extract the files into your mods folder in the Sims, and away you go, and you can literally take it out and put it back in. So when I actually finished this build, I did take, it was so bizarre to use this mod, can I just say before I carry on there, because it literally changes the colour of every single plant and tree in the game, and also kind of like your terrain tools. So it was bizarre because it was like having to learn what each of the items look like. So there was a lot of trial and error with this one, I must admit. But just purely out of interest, when I came to upload it to the gallery, I thought I'll see what this house looks like without the autumn mod. So I took it out of the game and then obviously relogged back on, and it still looked really beautiful, and it still has a good autumn vibe to it. But obviously this plot in Willow Creek, there's a lot of greenery around, so it did look quite a summery little spot really. So I decided to just carry on and upload it as a modded home to the gallery. So if you are interested, this is up on the gallery now, but you will need to tick the custom content box, the modded box, and it will then appear. Otherwise it won't appear on the gallery. Also, I did go ahead and use the custom paintings that you get in-game, because there's just so many beautiful custom art within the game now. It's just such a shame that it classes it as a modded build, because then unless you're specifically searching for a modded build, it just completely hides it, which is just a bit unfortunate. But, you know, I think it adds so much more character, and you know, the majority of the build, I did actually start using custom content furniture as I started to build this from Peacemaker, and then I thought, well, actually, if I'm going to upload it to the gallery, if you don't have the CC, like, it doesn't matter if you don't have the paintings, and it doesn't matter if you don't have the mod, because you can still use this build. So if you don't have the mod and you don't have the paintings, still attempt to download it, because it should work perfectly fine. I would say the only thing that you would need on, if you're going to download it, is the move objects cheat. Now I do build well, I build all of my builds with the move object cheat on, because it's brilliant. It just gives you the opportunity to really layer and give a really detailed look to your builds. So if you do go ahead and download any of my builds and they look slightly funny or things are misplaced, then try to bulldoze the lot, and I think it's Control-Shift-C, and then you would type in bb.moveobjects space on, and then enter that, and then re-download it, and it should work perfectly fine. Everything should be in place just as it was built. So it is quite the little challenge doing a build whilst streaming, because obviously when you start to get people into the stream, you're then kind of flicking back and to and talking, and it's really hard to, you know, because I think when you kind of create something new, or for me anyway, I really do get into my own little world, and so having to kind of multitask just throws me completely off. But I haven't been announcing that I've been going on Twitch. I've been doing it kind of slowly but surely and easing myself on and sneaking onto the stream, and that's just the way that I wanted to do it, because I really want to get used to doing it at a slower pace rather than just jumping in the deep end. So this was brilliant because people slowly started coming into the stream as I was doing this build, and this is where I probably got the most viewers that I've had so far, and I feel like I'm starting to get used to it, because at first I was like, oh, this is scary, but now I'm kind of, you know, I'm thinking maybe I could do it, maybe I could do a bit of building and streaming and it's not too bad. It's also great to answer loads of questions, you know, because you do get a lot of people that aren't very confident at building or feel like they just can't build at all, and it's great to answer questions, because if it means that, you know, I can teach somebody or tell somebody a trick, or, you know, give a little bit of advice to someone that helps them out, then that's fantastic, because that's really the aim of this as well. You know, I want to help people to understand how to maybe build a little bit better, maybe take the odd tips. I mean, even I think every single builder can say that they're not perfect. Everyone learns something new. You know, I watch so many fantastic creations, and even now, you know, years and years on from when the game first launched, there are just so many tips and tricks that people come up with, and it's just fascinating. So yeah, if anyone grabs anything from any of my streams or videos, then that's brilliant in my book. So yes, I tried to use kind of like lots of sort of rustic looking colours, you know, lots of autumn themed colours. Again, went with this kind of like red exterior and brick exterior. Obviously it is a suburban build, so naturally in the summertime it's going to look like completely different. So I just wanted to create sort of a rustic feel without going too far away from it being a suburban home, if that makes sense. So what I did with the pond, for instance, normally when I do kind of like ponds in my builds, I make them look really sort of beautiful and crystal clear. But with this one, I used obviously the green murky water to kind of give the effect that, you know, it was out of season, and, you know, it was all kind of getting a bit murky and a bit gross looking. But moving on to the interior, again, I did go for some more kind of autumny, red, earthy kind of tones, but I did also this time include, you know, children's room. I didn't go too mad on the earthen kind of colours, because obviously, you know, ordinarily this house, like I said before, will go through different seasons, etc. So yeah, I kind of personalised the rooms slightly, just made them a little bit more themed. There wasn't a running theme throughout the house, like I say, I just used lots of different colours. Now this build actually has a section on the left hand side of the house, which again I transformed into a bit of an annex. So that can be used for like an elderly, you know, more elder Sims that are maybe like grandparents that are still living with a family, or it could be like a very, very luxurious butler's residence, or maybe for a nanny. So that was downstairs, where I create a separate kind of bedroom, bathroom, kitchen and living room space. But overall in the build there are 6 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms, so it's a massive house. It's one of the biggest that I've done yet. It isn't the biggest, but it's up there as far as suburban builds go. You know, it's quite a big one. Now obviously for the purposes of this video, I always like to try and keep my speed builds to around the 20-minute mark, so I don't include things like bathrooms and also sort of communal areas like the landings and, you know, walkways and things like that, but there's still a lot of detail that goes into them. But in order for you to properly see this build in all of its glory, you would have to download it from the gallery. but I just tend to include the main bedrooms and the main rooms in the build during the speed build. So I hope you're all well and you're all having a fantastic week. My week was going absolutely swimming because, like I say, I've been getting into doing a bit of streaming. I've finally done a full build from start to finish on stream, so I was chuffed about that. And I also went on to stream some Overwatch, which talk about needing to put adult only. It was terrible because I'm quite new to Overwatch as well, so there was a little bit of swearing in there, which wasn't very good. But yeah, that was so much fun. It was brilliant, and my week's been going really, really good. Plus, my husband started streaming too. He isn't new to streaming by any stretch. He streamed over the years from World of Warcraft years ago, and yeah, but he's getting back into it now, which is really good. Apart from now we've got to share our second monitor. But no, he's really, really good. He's cool. So he's been doing a little bit of Elite Dangerous and chilling doing that, which has been fun. So I've been really good this week, right up until last night. Now, my husband went to cook some tea yesterday, and he was like, we had this big chicken that we needed to cook and make like a big roast dinner type thing. But when he got the chicken out, he was like, Kim, this chicken smells, it doesn't smell very good. I was like, look, chicken doesn't smell great when you first open it anyway. It really, really stinks bad. But he was like, well, there's still a couple of days left on it, you know, it should be absolutely fine. So he went and had and cooked it. Now, we all had this chicken dinner, apart from a couple of my kids. They didn't, some of them, like my daughter, she's a bit fussy about meat. She's a bit of a vegetarian, really, and she's only 7. So she's not a big fan of things like chicken. So the kids didn't eat a great deal, and it was predominantly me and my husband that ate it. Now, I went to bed. Oh, also, my baby daughter, who is 8 months old, she had a little bit as well, because whenever we have our big tea, we always sit her in a high chair and we always give her little bits of whatever we're eating as well. So she tried a little bit of this chicken. Now, just before I go any further, this chicken was actually in date, well in date by a couple of days. There was no reason to kind of, you know, think that it was definitely going to be off or anything like that, other than it smelling, which chicken ordinarily does. But my daughter had a really rough night last night. She was up about 4 times. I went to bed about 11, and still at 2 o'clock in the morning, I was getting out of bed every 2 minutes to just sort of like try and calm her down, chill her out. Now, I thought it was teething at the time, but come 5 o'clock in the morning, she woke me up, and I got up, went to the toilet, and as I was on the toilet, now I know this is really gross, but I don't know if you've ever suffered from them, but there's something called sulfur burps, which are like, they taste like egg and they smell like egg. It's really gross, but it's what happens when you're, you know, you've got some sort of infection brewing in your intestines. So you can like kind of burp this kind of, they call them sulfur burps, is the official word. But I've always suffered from them since I was a kid. And whenever I do it, I'm like, oh no, I'm ill. It's like a kind of early warning signal that I'm ill. So I did that and I was like, oh no. I'm ill. And the first thing I thought of was the chicken, and I was like, no. And then I started to panic because I was thinking, is that why my daughter's been awake? You know, maybe it's not teething, maybe it's this chicken. So I went and got into bed, and lo and behold, my stomach started with the worst stomach cramps, and I was kind of keeling over. And at that point, I kind of woke my husband up and I said, look, I'm really ill, and I think it's the chicken. How are you okay? And he was like, oh, you know, half-asleep. He was like, yeah, I'm fine. So then I was like, So I thought, well, I better check on the other kids, but I knew that they hadn't eaten a lot. So I thought, I'm going to have to check that my eldest son's all right in the morning in a couple of hours. I didn't want to go waking anybody up, because obviously if they were ill, they needed as much sleep as they could get. So it got to kind of like 7 o'clock in the morning, and I went to wake my eldest up for school, and he jumped out of bed and he was absolutely fine. In fact, now I tell a lie, I didn't wake him up. I had to get my husband to wake him up, because at this point I was in the toilet and I was really, really not good at all. So luckily he was okay. So after all that, it wasn't the chicken. It couldn't have possibly have been the chicken, because surely enough, you know, we would have all been ill. So at that point, I did kind of breathe a sigh of relief, and I thought, thank God it isn't the chicken. I have absolutely no idea what has caused it. It must just be like, you know, a 12-hour bug or something like that, because I obviously didn't have a lot of sleep last night, and I was really quite poorly all this morning up until dinner time. And then at dinner time I slept quite a lot, and then I felt much better come this afternoon, but I literally didn't eat anything all day and didn't drink anything. The thought would have just been like, oh, I was too frightened because I just felt so tender. But I'm really fortunate because luckily my husband took good care of the kids. Obviously they were all at school, and he did the school run, and then he looked after our baby daughter as well, so I was able to get some sleep and kind of catch up and try and sort myself out. But yeah, God knows what caused that, but I was like, this afternoon I was cleaning everywhere, just like washing my hands, cleaning all the surfaces that I'd touched, and just trying my best to kind of make sure that, you know, whatever it was wasn't kind of lurking around ready to get the next person. But yeah, thankfully, you know, my husband brought home a huge bottle of Lucozade, which is like the go-to drink in our house if we've been poorly. So I've kind of like been sipping that this afternoon. I've been feeling better, still feel quite tender, but yeah, that was kind of a bit eventful because I've not actually been ill for ages. And I was only thinking the other day, I've been reading like loads on the Australian flu, and the papers keep saying, you know, it's going to be in Britain this winter, etc. We need to be prepared, our hospitals need to be prepared. And I was thinking, God, you know, I've not been ill in ages, so I'll have to keep an, you know, get ready sort of thing and be wary of that kind of bug and whatnot. And then lo and behold, there I am, keeled over ill. But yes, I'm finally recovered, finally feeling better. So that was my little drama for the week. But yeah, moving back onto the build, I'm coming towards the end now. I was just finishing off doing this little playroom that's just off the kitchen area, which I'm putting into all of my big builds at the moment. I think they're a fantastic idea, you know, to be able to manage toddlers and for them to have like a separate area where they can go and chill out as well. I think it's an absolutely fantastic idea. And then this was just like the final room, which was a little office area, which I tried to make nice and cozy. I always try and make my office areas like a little adult space, something that's, you know, you could imagine working there quite comfortably. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a big thumbs up, and hello to every new subscriber. And if you're not subscribed, make sure you hit that button to come back for more, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.